The woodlands of the Iberian Peninsula in Europe's southwest corner form one of the most extraordinary forests in the world. A complex ecosystem stretching across Spain and Portugal, these woods teem with wildness and life. For thousands of years, some of the most astonishing, endangered, and unusual animals on Earth have made this place their home. A habitat shaped by the region's proximity to Africa, these are some of the most diverse woodlands in the world. But this is also a savage land. Life here is hard. Every species must fight to survive. Now, with the climate changing faster than ever before, the future here is becoming more uncertain. In these ancient forests that have sustained existence for millennia, life now is always on the edge. Summer has arrived in Iberia's woodlands, and with it, the temperature is rising. It marks the beginning of what will be a prolonged period of drought in the region, making survival here even more difficult. Most of the forest birds have now finished breeding. This little eaglet was born 3 months ago. Relatively large and increasingly boisterous, at this stage in life, it must rely on mum and dad to provide it with food. His diet consists largely of reptiles, sometimes lizards, but mostly snakes. A growing boy, he needs to eat several times a day if he's to grow strong enough to make his first solo flight in approximately 3 weeks' time. It means, for his parents, hunting is an all-consuming task. The snake eagle hunts by soaring up to 500 meters from the ground. With its 340-degree field of vision and ability to see 5 times further than the average human eye, it's capable of tracking every inch of terrain in high definition. Here, a horseshoe whip snake rests camouflaged on a tree trunk. When still, it is relatively safe. But even the slightest movement will draw the attention of prying eyes above. From the air, the male eagle is capable of surveying a vast area. From such height, it can descend rapidly to pounce on snakes unseen. This snake must take cover immediately, because the eagle has seen movement. The snake eagle is one of the most deadly predators in these forests. Parachuting down, most snakes are not even aware of an incoming attack until it's too late. For the blissfully ignorant snake, he lives to fight another day. The eaglet has watched everything from the nearby nest. The sight of his father's empty talons will do little for his hunger. However, short-toed snake eagles breed and raise their offspring in pairs. Unfortunately, today, the mother has also been hunting. The horseshoe whip snake that narrowly avoided death is once again heading out into open terrain. This time, she is leaving her den in this old tree trunk, and she will not be coming back. She has left behind a secret that will be kept until the heat of summer enables a miraculous event. The cracking shells of these hatching snakes are the sound of a new generation's arrival. Born with a sharp tooth on their lips, these young hatchlings cut their way out of their shells and emerge into the world. Invariably, extending its tongue and tasting its surroundings is the first act of a newborn snake. Their inexperienced eyes take time to adjust. They must feel out their surroundings through smell and taste at this stage. Luckily, each of the 9 eggs laid has resulted in a successful birth. But with no parents present to nurture them, they must fend for themselves from the very start. In need of food soon after hatching, these snakes emerge into Iberia's woodlands. In reality, only 1 or 2 of this nest will survive infancy. Their lives now depend on the fate of the forest. Iberia's woodlands form a rich and complex Mediterranean ecosystem that is home to an extraordinarily diverse range of wildlife. In the summer months, however, surviving here is hard. Drought can last anywhere between 2 and 4 months. And whilst some animals can scavenge the last of spring's nuts and berries, many others find themselves competing for resources that simply aren't there. In recent years, an explosion in the numbers of large herbivores such as deer and mouflon have put unprecedented pressure on these woodlands. Overpopulation by these animals has led to vegetation loss. Constantly wandering in search of something to eat, they erode the soil and have turned these once lush forests into a land of dry soils and rocky shrubs. This herd of mouflon wanders together as a unit. In this way, each animal has a better chance of survival if attacked, a perennial possibility in Iberia's woodlands. Something has caught their attention. A scent in the wind alerts them to a danger nearby. It is a scent they associate with death. Wolves. These Iberian wolves are apex predators in these forests. They feast on boar, rabbits, deer, ibexes, and fish. Unfortunately for them, mouflon are also a part of the wolf's diet. And whenever wolves start maneuvering as a pack in this way, rest assured, a hunt is on. These mouflon make haste in an effort to escape. However, the wolves are not pursuing them. In fact, they have found the corpse of a mouflon who has not survived summer. Primarily hunters, wolves are also perfectly happy to scavenge and feed on the deceased corpses of found animals. Whilst they hunt and live together cooperatively, hierarchy still structures the pack. Here, this old alpha male is leader. The others must respect him and know their place in the pack. For he decides the order in which wolves eat. And throughout feeding, he continuously reminds the others who is boss. The prevailing view of a wolf pack is that of a group of individuals held in check by the alpha. However, their social dynamics are actually more complex. The typical wolf pack is often a family. Today, it's meant that this carcass has fed every wolf in the pack. Rivalry defines all life in Iberia's woodlands. Competition both within and between species is unavoidable. Here, plants compete with each other for space, nutrients, and sunlight. And some have evolved rather unusual tendencies to survive in these dry and drought-prone lands. The Drosophilum belongs to the carnivorous group of plants. Its leaves secrete a syrupy substance whose sweet aroma is irresistible to many insects. This grasshopper has fallen into its trap. Drosophilum's leaves are inescapably sticky and contain digestive enzymes that kill. Over the next few days, it will slowly suffocate this grasshopper before dissolving it and absorbing its nutrients for itself. Amongst carnivorous plants, the Drosophilum is one of the most successful hunters in the world. Capable of capturing a vast quantity of prey, it is well adapted to surviving in these barren soils. Innocent though it looks, it is the silent serial killer of these forest floors. Insects' lives are short, but very intense. These paper wasps are working hard to build a hive before the rainy season returns. From organic matter, they are trying to produce a pulp which they will use like cement to build their house. Fibrous materials such as wood bark and plant stems are the key ingredients. Breaking these down with their saliva, they produce a wet paper-like pulp that sets hard into a hive. In order to find the perfect building materials, worker wasps head out from the colony. But even for aggressive wasps, life outside the colony is never guaranteed. The praying mantis is a master wasp killer. A genius of camouflage and disguise, it goes undetected amongst the leaves. Wasps are well adapted to surviving attacks. With their deadly sting, most insect eaters know to leave them well alone. But the praying mantis does not fear. It trusts its ambush instincts. Pouncing with precision, the mantis holds the wasp still, securing both its jaws and stinger before sucking out its brains. And her appetite has no limits. In just a few minutes, she is capable of catching and devouring countless wasps. Normally the bullies of the insect kingdom, today, these wasps had no chance. For they found themselves in rivalry with perhaps the most masterful insect killer on Earth. As darkness falls in Iberia's woodlands, the moon and stars awaken those of a nocturnal nature. Animals for whom day begins at night. Mice, most active at dusk, here emerge into the moonlight. Having evolved for nocturnal living, mice have a few nighttime tricks up their furry sleeves. Their eyes actually improve in low light, becoming more sensitive to movement. With fewer predators than during the day, it makes night the safest time for mice to scavenge and feast. But it's not only mice who take advantage of night's relative safety. Lit by moonlight, the forest is a midnight feast that's open to all. These snails set out in the cool of night in search of something green to eat. But the forest pantry is not kind to everyone evenly. Primarily a vegetarian, hunger has made this mouse a more flexible eater this evening. Unfamiliar with the technique, extracting escargot from their shells is harder than it first seems. But with patience and perseverance, it succeeds. For a hungry mouse, it proves a delicious midnight feast. With its belly full of snail, the mouse can return to its evening escapades. But tonight still has a few more surprises up its sleeve. Startled by the mouse, this mantis assumes its kung fu pose. En garde. With her outstretched wings, this mantis is pretending to be bigger and even more dangerous than she already is. However, the mouse is more confused than alarmed, but it would not be wise to let its guard down, because mantises are more than capable of killing small mammals like mice and birds. This time, the mantis has let the mouse get away with a warning. But some creatures of the night are less forgiving. A snub-nosed viper. Mice are insatiably curious animals. However, unfortunately for them, they are also an integral part of the viper's diet. This mouse has no reason to suspect it is in danger. A hunter, the snub-nosed viper here stalks by lying perfectly still and waiting for the mouse to walk into its trap. A lethal injection of venom, delivered through the viper's fangs, has taken effect. In just a few moments, this mouse will be dead. The mouse's scent guides the viper. It is searching for its head. Like all snakes, vipers prefer to eat rodents head first. After locating the head, the viper begins the process of swallowing the mouse whole. Vipers' lower jawbones are connected only by ligaments that allow them to open their mouths extremely wide. Inching the mouse into its throat, the viper will, in time, swallow this mouse whole. It will then digest it over the coming days. In Iberia's woodlands, mice are an essential link in the ecosystem, their availability directly affects many species who need them to survive. Fortunately, nighttime will always bring mice out to play. And whilst death at the fangs of vipers is brutal, it is absolutely necessary in maintaining the forest's delicately balanced food chain. A hunter famed for its cunning and stealth is found all over Iberia. The red fox, one of the great survivors of these lands. Here in southwestern Spain, it happily shares its habitat with another predator, the mongoose. Together, these two have lived and hunted side by side for generations. This summer, however, is proving hard for both of them. Temperatures have been scorching, and there's been no rain for several months. With available food now in short supply, both foxes and mongooses are having to take drastic measures to survive. Another fox has succumbed to this brutal summer, and its scent has attracted mongooses nearby. Mongooses usually eat small mammals, birds, and reptiles. Dead fox is not normally a meal. But this summer, there is nothing else to choose from. Their choice is between eating and starvation. That mongooses have been reduced to eating foxes is a worrying harbinger of things to come. This year, summer has wreaked havoc in the forest. Animals like the red fox are simply not managing to survive. Where carrion can be found, it falls to apex predators like this golden eagle. But desperate to eat and smelling food nearby, this fox has no choice but to try his luck. With razor-sharp claws and a beak as strong as steel, golden eagles can make easy prey of foxes. But a slave to hunger, the fox inches in. In normal circumstances, the fox would never risk coming this close to a golden eagle. But these are not normal circumstances. Today, this fox's hunger will not be relieved. Whether or not it will survive summer is yet to be seen. All animals are hardwired to survive. Even in the most testing of habitats, they search to satisfy their basic needs. Animals here in Iberia's woodlands search for places to hunt, mate, and shelter. But most importantly, they must search for a good place to drink. With the scorching heat of summer building, water is now the most precious resource. These red-rumped swallows are collecting mud to build their nests. They are extremely late in breeding. Usually, this would have been done in spring. However, due to unprecedented climate change, many species are confused by uncharacteristic seasons that seem out of sync. In areas where clay soil allows for water retention, mercifully, some small ponds do exist. While the waters last, animals will travel here every day to quench their thirst and take respite from the sun. As day gives way to night once more, a creature emerges who has survived here since the 4th millennium BC. An unlikely survivor, the Etruscan shrew is the smallest terrestrial mammal still living on Earth. Weighing in at under 2 grams, his heart beats nearly 1,200 times a minute. Yet, despite his diminutive size, he is one of the fastest and most tactile hunters in these forests, though only small insects need be alarmed. In most instances, the shrew's small size helps him go unnoticed. However, he is vulnerable to one predator whose poor eyesight does not diminish its hunting prowess. This tawny owl hunts with an almost supernatural sense of hearing. And tonight, it's listening for something to eat. The Etruscan shrew has very poor eyesight, but its senses of smell are extraordinary. Hyper alert, he senses he is in danger, even if he doesn't know from whom. When in doubt, better safe than sorry. With the shrew ensconced in the shell, the tawny owl heads off to assess other hunting grounds. Next, he will try his luck at a nearby pond, which he can hear is awash with activity. These Iberian green frogs excite the owl's predatory instincts. But catching a leaping frog is hard, even for an accomplished predator like an owl. A miscalculated attack will send the frogs scampering deep underwater. The owl must strike with silence and precision if it has any chance of catching a frog. Success. Whilst not as appetizing as shrew, tonight the tawny owl has at least secured a substantial meal. A rare reservoir of spring rain is a sanctuary for birds parched by summer's sweltering heat. These ponds are formed from rainfall accumulated throughout the year. For many of Spain's sedentary bird species, like mallards, grebes, and glossy ibis, this pool will be their home for as long as the waters last. For others, like flamingos, they come here every year in celebration after successfully breeding nearby. But for storks migrating south to Africa, these reservoirs are lifelines. Like a compass, they direct the flock, sometimes more than 8,000 strong. With still more than 3,000 kilometers to travel, these storks will pause here to replenish themselves and rest. Traditionally, the stork's departure from these waters is a sign that summer is nearly complete. However, these days, rising temperatures from climate change are unsettling the natural order. Each year, ever more storks abandon their migration to remain in Spain throughout the winter. What this means for the future of the species, no one truly knows. But for now, whilst the majority of storks do migrate, it is still possible to witness one of the most beautiful spectacles on Earth. A signal in the wind has announced that the time to depart has come. These storks will now travel to their winter grounds in sub-Saharan Africa. A majestic sight, their presence in Iberia will be missed throughout winter. However, in just 5 months' time, they will return when they herald the arrival of spring. Nature is constantly in flux. As the stalks up sticks and leave, it marks the transitioning of the seasons. In September, the roars of red deer fill the forest. Rutting season has arrived. This bellowing male is angling for attention. He is daring other males to fight him for supremacy of these lands. Responding in kind, this younger male aspires to the crown. It means that battle will commence. Pumped full of testosterone, these male deer are battling for the most important prize of their lives: access to a harem of fertile females. Combat will only end when the weaker animal surrenders. But with no sign of that happening anytime soon, an opportunity presents itself for another competitor to try his luck with the females. With so many rival deer competing in this way, rutting season in Iberia is never short on drama. As summer fades away in Iberia's woodlands, it is soon time for winter to arrive. With it, new challenges will come to the Mediterranean. New sounds fill the land, and new visitors the skies. These cranes are here from northern Europe to enjoy a milder winter. But even in more temperate months, surviving here is never guaranteed. Now, as the climate changes faster than ever before, life becomes ever more uncertain as wildlife is increasingly under threat. And whilst nature will ultimately decide who survives here, humans must take responsibility. Conservation efforts and politics can affect change if forged by the better angels of our nature. For if we do not take action, these ancient and diverse woodlands will be nothing more than a memory of what nature used to be.